Dallas on a sweep. Brings it up.
All right, hi guys. I'm Coach Jeff from Youth Football Online, co-founder. I'm with Coach Matt Lasker, founder of airraidwarden.com, and we're here to talk about the air raid. So, Coach Matt, it's on you.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me in, man. I really appreciate you letting me come on the Youth Football Online channel and talk some ball. Like Jeff said, my name is Lasker. I'm currently the athletic director and one of the head football coaches for the Ceremone Valley Thunderbirds football and cheer organization. Just so you guys know, we are in Northern California. The T-Birds has been around since 1959, an organization it's been awesome. And just I was on Run the Power the other day and trying to define, like, are we attached to a middle school or not? So just so everyone knows, here in Northern California, at least, middle schools, the actual schools in middle school don't have tackle football. So that's all run through these
New
nonprofit
Jersey for the most part.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we have an organization with multiple levels, done by age and weight. And so, yeah, we've been around 60 years. We celebrated 60 years. We feed 3 to 5 high schools out here in Northern California, one of them being the famed De La Salle. And then my alma mater, where I went to high school, Monte Vista High School, actually air raid team. So it's pretty cool. And so to have that connection with my old school. So yeah, this past season, I coached the 8th grade 14 and under team. We won a NorCal title running the air raid. Really excited about that. It was a ton of fun, but I've coached all the different levels. I started 3-4 years ago with the little guys, 7 and 8 year olds, and we ran split back veer, triple option, won a title doing that. I grew up in the wing tee as a 2-back. So, I love the air raid, but I definitely have my roots in traditional running game. And that's a big part of our offense too. So with the success of that we had running the air raid, spreading the ball around, parents loved it. The kids loved it, obviously. I did an article for Jeff and Youth Football Online a few months ago. A lot of you might have seen that, and the response I got from that article really put me on this mission to get the word out there. I came into the spread not knowing anything. Like I said, I grew up playing running dominant offenses, so I had to go out and figure out what the spread was. I ran into the air raid, and we'll get into all that in a second, but we had so much fun doing it. I just wanted to create a place now for youth coaches like all you guys out there. If you want to know more about the air raid or just running the spread in general at this level, I wanted to put something A to Z together. That's what airraidwarden.com is. You can just go there from the philosophy to the type of pass plays and concepts and run plays and concepts, all the way to practice plans. It's all there for you. So it really put me on a mission to just give coaches this option, because I know a lot of us just, we know what we know. We learned what we learned in high school, and some of us were lucky to play college, but and that's what we teach when we get back to football. But I just want to put something together so if someone does want to run this type of offense, they have a place to do it, and it's all free, by the way. So yeah, thanks for that introduction, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem. And I mean, listen, that's why I reached out to you to have you come on with us. So. You're a youth football coach running this. That's the difference. There's a lot of high school guys that have awesome content on it and, who I learned a ton from. But I wanted someone that's actually doing it on the youth football, because it is a different game, in my opinion, high school compared to youth. So, so appreciate you coming on. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I got my pen, got my notebook. I'm ready for little notes.
Well, let's do it. And honestly, what you just said, I mean, I've said that. I literally said that earlier today to somebody else, and I said it yesterday. Youth football is different than high school. It's a different game than high school football, and that's a different game from college, and that's a different game from pro football. These are all different. They're all based on the traditional football, but this different games. We see 5-man fronts and 6-man fronts more often than not. We see wedge offenses coming at us when we're on defense, so it's a different game and you got to prepare differently. So I'm excited to talk air raid. I'm excited to talk football because number one, I'm a football fan, and to learn from all of your audience as well. So So I mean, basically what I'd love to just kind of start off with is why the air raid, number one, and why I think that more teams in youth football should be running it. Okay. So number one with the air raid, it's so simple. The simplicity behind it all. Okay. Literally we have 3 formations that we run and 11 plays, and we run all 11 plays out of all 3 formations. As we, layer in motions, we can do that if we wish or not. We can adjust how the back, we do split backs as one of our formations in the shotgun, but we have formations where we can slide, kind of more of a pistol from behind and then a fullback to the side. So there's variations obviously on those 3 formations, but in general, the simplicity of it all, 3 formation, a small playbook is a staple of the air raid. You don't have to have only 11 plays. In my air raid warden course, I really stress 12 plays or less, but some people have 15
I'm
plays.
with you. I agree. We do the same thing. I mean, we have 13 plays that we run out of 3 different formations. It's essentially the same. The only thing that changes is we do implement some tags, some little blocking adjustments and things like that.
Sure.
But we're running, we're being multiple while still keeping things simple. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yep. And it allows you to be flexible, right? Like once they learn these core 10 plays, 11 plays, 12 plays, then you can start tagging and we run power. And if the D tackle to the play side is lined up one way, we run it as a fold. And if he doesn't, they just know to run it like a straight power. So yeah, there's little nuances to it, but I just love the simplicity of it. The literal philosophy that comes from the creator himself. And it's funny, you talk to air raid guys, it's kind of like a funny little group of people that all have these same little talk tracks, but I'm all in. So literally the philosophy of air raid is throw the ball short to your playmakers, to the people that can make plays, and then throw it deeper to them after they've tried to take it away. So it's all about getting the ball in space to your playmakers. I'll get into it a little bit and show you how we do that. But if we can get the ball to one of our best athletes on the edge against a cornerback who, at least in our world over here, that's not where you put your best athletes in youth football. Usually it's like a D end or a linebacker, right? Linebacker maybe.
Or we see a lot of 6'2", like wide tackle 6'2s. They'll throw that kid in the C gap or even like a 7 tech, and then that does give us some problems. We have some answers for that, but yeah, that's what we see a lot too. Good D ends, good D tackles, and 2 good outside linebackers. But yeah, like you said, man, tackling in space is tough. It doesn't matter if it's youth football or in the NFL. Trying to tackle good athletes in space it's a tough thing to do.
Exactly. And if you come up to the line of scrimmage, and I'll probably just break down one play for you guys, it kind of sets the tone for our whole philosophy. But if you come up to the line of scrimmage and you've seen the receivers on this side catch a couple balls, and the receivers on that side catch a couple balls, and the running back catch a ball or run, counter at you, you don't really know who to key in on. And the goal is to be able to come up to the line and spread the ball around evenly. I mean, the definition of what a balanced offense is different in our world. It's not run to pass. We totally threw that out. It is now how many different positions, not kids, but how many different positions are touching the ball and adding value, right? And that, to us, that's balance. If we have 4 receivers and a running back on every play that can potentially touch the ball, and you're marking up the sheet after the game and you look at it and you see that 7 kids touch the ball, I mean, that's great in any football, but in youth football, as you know, when we're dealing with parents,
yeah,
that's a whole nother
it keeps
basket.
the kids interested, and like you said, you keep the parents happy, you get kids involved. The biggest thing is keeping them interested. You can run whatever you want. If the kids are losing interest, you're gonna lose them. So.
Yeah, and that brings me to my next point here is like why I believe, and take it or leave it, guys. I mean, like I said, I come from a run dominant life, like most of us that grew up in the 70s and 80s. But really, I believe that spreading the ball around and letting them play in the style that you see these kids at 7-on-7, you see them at flag, they're flinging the ball around, they're running around, they're having fun, they're laughing. Our flag divisions out here in where we live holy cow, they're printing money, right? Like these are packed all Saturday and Sunday long, from the smallest ages to the biggest. We're over there. They used to come to our games to recruit for those kids when they first started that league, the flag league that's out here. Now it's vice versa. We're begging to knock on their doors to get kids back to us.
You know what's that made me think of something, and this is going to support what you're saying. I coach 7-on-7 flag. Unfortunately, got canceled this year because of the whole COVID-19 situation. But I had a kid. We're a wing T based team. I had a kid. He played guard for us. You know, he's a little undersized, but he was a good athlete, physical. And in 7-on-7, he was begging me, "Let me play tight end. Throw me the ball." And he had hands, and he was a good athlete. I mean, he's a wing T guard for us. The kid can move. Little undersized for it, but he was such a good physical kid, and he's just a good guard for us. We needed him there. But there was times throughout the season where you could tell he was a great kid. Okay, yeah. You know, the kid was a team player, one of our captains, but he would always bug me. Hey, let me run the ball. Let me get a catch. And he could kind of do it. So if I spread him out and we were spread, he would definitely be someone I could utilize more, and then he would stop annoying me with it. So that, you know, I think there's kids that can do it. You might be surprised, you know, like you said, all my kids play 7-on-7. I have kids that play tackle for me who are a little bit bigger kids on our line. So like they're playing, you know, they're out there, they're catching the ball, they're running around. So, you know, I agree with you.
And they love it. And, you know, the flag is packed to the gills with kids. 7-on-7, it's very competitive out here when you can get into those leagues, and those are packed and kids are eating it up. So I like, why does it have to change because we're putting pads on? And I came into last year. I've been with T-Birds for a handful of years, like I said, at the lower levels, kind of working my way up. The guys that have been calling the offense for us at that 8th grade level have been De La Salle, is a Hall of Fame De La Salle lineman. Okay. And he's been calling split back veer for a decade at that highest level that I took over last year. It was success. They've been 8 out of the last 10 Turkey Bowls. They'd been in it and they'd won like 6. So like the easy thing for me to do would be come in and just let him continue to do it. But I was really concerned because it's just, you're not spreading we have so many great athletes here, and I'm looking at these kids in these passing, you know, 7-on-7s and flag, and I know for a fact they can do it. And I just kept getting pushback from these older school guys. Like they can't do that a whole game, or they can't do that a whole season.
Kids can do, man.
They can. Go watch a 7-on-7 game. There's no difference with pads on. You know, it once they get used to it, they'll be fine. So I'm just so tied into these participation numbers. I mean, everyone out listening right now to us knows when we were kids. I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's true. And even maybe 6 or 7 years ago at these youth organizations, we had to cut, just 5 or 6 years ago, we had to cut 20 kids for each level. Now we're barely getting to our 40-man rosters, right? So I truly believe that if we can spread the ball around, make the game a little bit more spread out, bring back like the basketball player types that they know they're not going to touch the ball because they're not built like me, short and squatty like a running back, right? Or a wildcat quarterback. They just kind of know already they're not going to see much action. So I honestly believe that kids aren't choosing football as much as they used to. I know concussions is a part of it. And, you know, when mom says, no, you can't do that till high school or maybe even never, you know, they say that. But I do honestly believe that there's no real pushback from the kids nowadays. Like you and I, we're fighting to play football as early as possible, right? And we would whine about it. But kids can choose to play baseball year round if they want to. I love baseball. I'm in the Giant Stadium right now hanging out. Basketball players can choose to play AAU year round, right? So, you know, the old adage of, you know, they'll play where we put them and they got to like it. While I'd still believe that when you're in the season and you need to place a kid somewhere and they don't like it, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that to even get them out is a problem right now. So if we can offer them to play this style of football, knowing full well they have a chance to impact the game, I do believe it'll bring more kids out, which will fill our pipeline back up, and even more importantly, up to high school. We have a lot of freshman teams that are not even alive. They're frosh soft teams now at our high schools around here, and it's pretty sad. So I just want to bring those numbers back.
Yeah, to your point, even if you line a kid out wide as a receiver for a play, I mean, obviously that, and you're not going to throw to him or do anything, even though that may be a tell, but that's going to make that kid feel good. You
Yep.
line him up, one or two times that receiver, may feel good about himself. So even if you're not, hey, mom, look, I was playing receiver a little bit and playing the line. So,
Yep.
there's things you can do with like that too,
Yep.
in my opinion. And it's a
And
good way too when you're spreading the field that, if you got minimum play rules, and this was something I struggled with early on when I always had around like 21 kids. I had a year, it was 27 kids, and I was having problems getting these kids 10. Every kid needs 10 plays. It doesn't matter how many are size of a roster. So, a lot of teams would put them at receiver, but at least you put them at receiver, they feel good about themselves, and it's a way to get plays.
yep.
You know what I mean? So I think
Exactly.
it's good. And then
And
I'll give you
even
another
more to that.
example. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'll give
no,
you
go
another,
ahead. Finish.
I'll give you another example too. Um, in 2017, I had a lot of skilled kids, and we're a wing T team. Okay, we do some single wing stuff too, beast formation. But we had a lot of skilled kids, and I had legit four solid ball handlers, and then one kid that was decent. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking. I have two of my best skill kids off the field.
Yeah.
Do I put them at a guard, or So that's the first time that year that we installed a 2x2. We went spread a little bit because I can't.
Nice.
I'm looking at myself. I'm like, am I the only coach in this league that has two solid players on the bench because they're not playing guard or tackle for us or tight end? Like, I got to get these kids in the game, and it'll open up everyone else because they'll have to respect it. So, since 2017, we installed somewhat of a spread package. We do our same stuff. We'll run our jet sweep or fly sweep, whatever you want to call it, out of it. Do some QB ISO out of that and stuff. But just get those athletes on the field, man. You could throw a quick nat to them, above, like, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, why are these kids off? Am I a complete idiot? So something like that, I'm like, I got to spread the field. And it was a nice change up, too, because we're so compressed all the time that I had to kind of spread the field a little bit, too. And, we spread the field. Other team coaches think, under the misconception that you spread the field, it's all passing. We were spreading the field to run, pretty much. That's just our philosophy, too. You make them defend the whole width of the field. And, you do a quick now or bubble out there, man, that's pretty much an extension of the run game. So
we call those sweeps. Our bubble screens are sweeps.
Your outside
to your point, though, like, that's what people don't understand. The spread was created to even out the numbers in the box. Like, that's literally why they first started putting receivers out there, just so they can get some people out of the middle so they can run the ball. So, that is a huge point. And if nothing else, just out of sheer numbers wise, I'm not a big math guy, but just give me the numbers. And if we go three guys to the right and we have only two guys defending, I'm going to throw that bubble screen.
You got numbers. Yeah, numbers game.
If it's 3-on-3, we're going to run GT counter right at you. And we actually have a play where the quarterback looks for that 3-on-3 matchup or 3-on-2, and we'll run either the bubble or the counter and we'll decide right before the snap. So it's actually kind of cool. And back to your other point about, having these kids play receiver, and maybe that's one thing I'll touch on toward the end, is how we practice this, because that is where the secret sauce is. You can run any offense, and I believe it, for wing T, flex bone. You got to kind of go all in with your practice schedule if you want to be a specific type of team, right? Air raid is no different. It's all about practicing the amount. Even if the kid is a fifth string X receiver, we call our X's L because our L's never leave that side of the field. Even if he's a fifth string X receiver in practice, the amount of catches and the amount of reps he's getting, taking his turn in the line to take reps at his position, where there's only two or three guys at that position, over. And we, in our practices, it is chock full, high paced. The whole practice is conditioning, where all we're doing is either running a route that has to do with the passing concepts that we're doing that week, or we're running the plays. But either way, when we're doing these drills in practice, there's always 5 quarterbacks throwing to 5 receivers at every rep. So every single receiver that's on the field is getting a ball. Every single quarterback that's on the field is throwing the ball.
You're keeping them active in practice. Parents will like that. Kids will love it, and you're getting your reps. Yeah?
And you guys know, in youth football, there's a guy in 8th grade that's nobody, that barely makes the team, but he gets to high school and he's a beast, right? So just those reps and just get in, this is all about getting ready for the next level. Just getting those reps, and 80% of the teams that are in our Bay Area in high school are running the spread to some degree. De La Salle is holding out. They're actually talking about what they can do, because they're going down to LA and Florida, and they're getting in shootouts and trying to break a outside veer to stay in the game. It's just it's not really scalable when you get to start playing some of these teams that are running true spread out there. But yeah, so it's all about practice for us. And yeah, I think maybe that'll be good to show that maybe toward the end. Do you mind if I kind of talk about our 4 verticals play? It is
go for it. You're in charge here. You're leading the way.
Okay, it's kind of the basis of our whole offense, and I really love to talk about it because it sets the tone for the rest of our quick games. So just to define something for you guys real quick, there is a quick game type of pass for air raid and spread, and I guess spread in general. They talk about it this way, and this was all new to me. A little bit over maybe a year and a half ago when I started researching, started finding guys like Ron Mackey online and Coach Joe Salas and Patrick Taylor. I actually got the 4 verts from Coach Patrick Taylor, all these guys are great coaches out there. Most of them are in the South, actually, I think. But yeah, so I started researching. And so the basis of our whole offense is, just like I said, it matches the philosophy. We're trying to get the ball out as quickly as possible, short throws in space. And our 4 verts is kind of where we actually start installing. We actually started to install it during our right before this whole pandemic hit. We had 2 spring ball practices, and then we had to stop. But it's literally the first thing that we install in spring, and it's the first thing that we install in summer when we get to training camp as well, okay? Because it sets the tone for the whole philosophy of the offense. Okay, so let me grab the screen if you don't mind. Ooh, can you enable me to share it? It won't let me right now. But essentially, as you're doing that, we come up, if you can imagine, we'll get on the screen in a sec, but if you come up to the line of scrimmage, we're in our 2x2 set, which we call open, which is 2 receivers out left. Obviously, there's a slot receiver, and then 2 receivers out right. We have our Y, our tight end, split out from the line. We have 2 packages. Ace is with him attached, and open is with him out.
Hey, do you know how to do that?
Let's see.
Like I said, this is our second one. I'm trying to figure it out now.
No worries. So I think if you hit participant and then go over my name for more, there should be some options there as the host. Do you see my name?
Yeah. Would making you a host
yeah, make me a co-host. Make me a co-host. Yeah.
Yeah, you're leading this discussion anyway. So you're the boss now.
Thank you. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's our second one. We're going to be doing a lot more of these Zooms. We got to get with the times here.
Hey, man, like I was telling you before we started, I work for a technology company. I literally am on Zoom all stinking day. So I got the Zoom fatigue, but cool. So let me share my screen. Okay, cool. Oh, that's a little weird. Do you see it?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, awesome. All right, so you see my screen, all verts, all verts there? Okay, so let me just start that over. You can edit the rest out. Okay, so we start spring ball, we start training camp, we start everything teaching all verts, and we do it slowly, but essentially the philosophy is, and this bleeds into the rest of our quick game, we have 3 quick game passes, and quick game passes by definition are, if you're in shotgun like we are 90% of the time, it's just a 1-step quick pass. If you're under center, people do run air raid out of under center, it's a 3-step drop. So traditionally, like a quick pass, just like any other offense, 3-step drop and the ball's out. Okay, so that's our quick game. It's always a 1-step drop from out of shotgun, and you're trying to get the ball out as quickly as possible. And so all verts, when they come up to the line of scrimmage, the quarterback is asking himself, who is open right now. And the receivers are, all four of these guys are asking themselves, when am I open? Okay. And the definition behind that for both of them is the defender that's over them, if they are 7 yards or more off, he is open right now. And by rule, and by the way we practice this every day, he will know that he's running a 3-step stick. The quarterback knows he's running a 3-step stick. Okay. Now, if this cornerback is up closer than 7 yards, he knows the green grass that he's trying to get to is behind. So he's running an outside release go on this cornerback, and then he's trying to restack on the numbers. We want to leave all this space between the numbers and the sideline. That's the quarterback's territory. These outside receivers, they don't get to cross these numbers. Okay. So he's running an outside release go in this scenario. If he's 7 yards closer, if he's 7 yards or back, he's running a 3-step stick. Okay. Same rules apply here. Now, we see a lot of 5-3s. That's why you see 3 linebackers here.
So do we. Everyone seems to run that.
Exactly. So if it's literally like this, which it is sometimes, he is uncovered. So he's running a 3-step stick right here. Okay. We got into this a little bit toward the end of the season where we started just running him up the seam on these. I would not start there. I would just get these rules set in everyone's mind. So in this scenario, 3-step stick, quarterback knows these guys are both running 3-step sticks in this scenario, and he can choose which one he wants to throw to. Okay. But they both need to be expecting the ball. Okay. Now, if he comes over and covers him up like he will, it's outside release go. Again, restacking, trying to get back on the same path that he came off the ball on. Okay. Y is the same way. Like I said, we do run this out of this formation where he's attached, hand in the dirt. If you've seen our cut-ups at all on our YouTube channel, Coach Lasker, you'll see that I had an amazing tight end last year. He could do both. He's a big guy, but he can run. So we were able to not have to really bring in new personnel in different situations. So in this scenario, he needs to get behind. So he's outside release and then restacking and trying to get up. And then in this scenario, it's a 3-step stick. Okay. And so that's the basis of our offense. And again, you'll see it on our cut-ups. He literally, so many times, the quarterback just takes it, throws it out to L, and this is one of our better athletes. He's on in youth football, what probably is not one of their better athletes. And so we've already accomplished our goal. We got one of our best athletes in space with the ball. He's getting 5 yards regardless. Is he going to break it? There's a good chance he's going to shake that guy and go down the sideline. But either way, I'm going to take 5 yards without slamming my head against the wall anytime they want to take it. So we are taking easy, free yards, free money. We call it easy money. Some people call it gifts. We're taking this as many times as they allow it. They're not going to stop doing it until they come off this. Okay. Now they come off it and you say, okay, well now what do you do? Everyone's going deep. You can't just go back there and play playground ball back there, right? So what do you do? Okay, so then we know because of the reps and practice, then we know that if they're all within 7 yards, we're playing a 3-man game with the F, the Y to T, and that's the read, F to Y to T. And we really do highlight these slot receivers or this tight end, whoever it may be for you and your personnel. You could have both. We did have some slot receivers that came in certain situations for our Y. But we do a lot of our passes to these kind of guys that are closer to the quarterback. Don't get me wrong, these L's and R's got a lot of balls. They both caught over 400 yards worth of passes and 20 passes. But we're really trying to focus our attention on. So this is kind of the triad of our best athletes. But obviously these guys are good too. So anyway, so the quarterback reads, okay, so he comes up the line. Everyone sees that the grass is deep. So then the quarterback's attention goes to the safety. So he takes a 1-step drop, staring at the safety. If he goes straight back or to his left at all, he is throwing just a 10-yard nice pitching catch over the top of this will. Okay, right here happens. It works well. If that safety starts cheating over, we're looking that way and then hitting the Y in the same way. Somehow they rotate or come out with this look, then this T is very much running an angle and trying to do his best to find like an open space in between linemen and get in the quarterback's vision. Okay. That doesn't happen in youth football, guys, as you guys know, that the pocket is gone pretty quickly. So we hit a lot of big plays, first of all, on hitting these guys pre-snap with that pre-snap read, but we had a lot of nice long plays that came off of a 10-yard pass just right here, 10 to 15-yard pass. Okay. So that is all verts play. And I'll show you in a second here how that ties into our other two quick game plays. But I'll pause there if you have anything that you want to talk about during this section, Jeff.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I mean, we play a team, Team Piscataway. They're very much a spread team, and they do like to run four verts. They'll run it by three out of 3x1. They'll run it out of 2x2 here, and we're base cover 3. So this is we've gotten beat by them with four verts in the playoffs a couple years ago, and not a lot of teams practice pass coverage, and I didn't until I played them in the semifinals, and it was a big wake up call. I mean, we do like I said, we're base cover 3, and then we have a lock call where we play man. Yep. That was kind of my answer for four verts, but we're practiced so much in cover 3 that when we did go man, we tried to press, but we didn't practice it enough. I feel like teams don't practice, and this goes in air raid's favor. Not a lot of youth football teams, and I've been to practices all across the country. And I know even me sometimes, we don't practice pass coverage very much. Yeah, you could say, okay, I got to get out of cover 3. Maybe I'll play man here. That'll take care of four verts. But like you got to teach the kids to play man too. If you play off man, you got to teach them to drive on the ball if you're running the stick. I just think it's hard to teach pass coverage in my opinion. So I like it, and to stop four verts, what we would do, we have more success with. We're cover 3 team, so it's a problem. But I think the biggest thing when running this concept is the spacing between the receivers. We've had teams try to hit us with four verts, but the spacing and the routes weren't good. So, our corner splitting the difference between 1 and 2, on the side, and we'd reroute 2, and the kid wouldn't get his spacing back, and it's pretty much covering two players, with one corner. So I think the spacing, in my opinion, is the biggest thing, one of the biggest aspects of it. And I'll let you go. I don't run four verts, even though we probably should out of our 2x2. I probably will now, but I'll let you touch on that. I think the spacing is critical because anytime we stop four verts in our cover 3, rerouting number 2 helped a lot. Knocking him off his path. Playing man on it to allow us to match the verticals, but still it's a tough concept, man. It's a tough concept, and a lot of times we didn't so much stop it. It's their spacing were bad. You know what I mean? Our corner splitting the difference, and they're running 2 verticals 8 yards apart from each other. We're going to sit heavy on 2 vertical, but we're covering 2 for 1. So spacing I think is the biggest thing that stops this play, in my opinion. So
yeah, for sure. And so if you can see my screen still, is this the defense you would come out in against this? Is that what you're saying?
We're 3-5. 3-5 stack. Oh, okay. So we call our outside backers we call our outside backers a dog. And another good thing with the air raid is that we see so many 53 defenses and 6-2s, and that's pretty much, I could say fairly confidently that that's pretty much the norm across.
Yep.
It's hard. You can't cover this stuff out of a 6-2 and 5-3. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. You're gonna bump out an end, bump out a linebacker. I mean, I just don't. I don't see them being able to cover it. But our dog would our corner would be 7 yards in. He'd split the difference between 1 and 2. Our outside linebackers are called dogs. I gotta have something up to share my screen. But we're a 3-5 stack basically. So we would extend our dog out, probably play inside leverage on 2, and our left stack backer here, he would kind of cheat out. We'd have to break the stack when teams go 3x1 on us. So like that, and we would be real physical on number 2.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's we
this
do
was a problem
every day,
for us.
trying to get off the ball. And I mean, just like anything, right? If you have to go deep, you have to have the line to support that, and we can talk about a line here in a minute. But essentially, for us, actually, I think we ran it a little bit better out of 3x1, just because it's basically the same rules. We're still playing games with the safety, and whoever he goes with, we throw to the opposite. if we get a free release, then lights out. If you're being physical, the only teams that gave us a little bit of headaches this year were the physical teams that tried to press you. So that's why we're doing this, right, guys?
Too. There's times where my kids whiffed, or got their hips all messed up, So it's personally, the team I was talking to you about, they run it 4 verts out of 3x1 and 2x2. By far, 3x1. And we play them every year. We play them in the semifinals every year, almost every year. So I had to have an answer for this. Playing the same. They run the same offense, actually, top to bottom, and even in high school. So, the only thing we had to literally put in a coverage for this. What I would do is, we'd have to lock on number 1, the single receiver side with that corner. And then we play. Yeah. Then we'd have to play cover 3, 3 deep, but we lock on 1. So that at least allowed us to match the verticals.
I love it.
But it was still, it's such a tough concept. And when I say 3x1, I'm sending some pressure from somewhere. And I do have some questions with you on how you handle some of these blitzes. I guess we'll get into that later. But 3x1, sure. 4 verts is by far our biggest issue here.
Yeah, and I love talking with defensive-minded coaches like yourself. I have a defensive coordinator that goes nerds out on this just like I do on offense. So I love matching because it's only going to get us better as coaches, and us youth coaches need to stick together because there's a lot of great high school content. All those guys I mentioned earlier are all great high school coaches, but we're seeing different looks, and if we can kind of play a game where you try to stop me and I try to get at you. And with youth concepts, I think we're all just going to get better. So I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Cool, man. So the only other thing I just want to go over real quick, just to piggyback on that all verts. So we teach the all verts day 1, practice 1, first thing that we install. Okay. And then the other 2 quick game passes that we have we call stick and corner. Those are the concepts we run for a quick game. And by the way, these 3 quick game, all verts, corner, and stick, I call that 70% of the time. Some youth teams don't even have drop back game, and drop back games like mesh, right? Where there's crossing receivers needing to go across the whole field. So it's a 5-step under centers, 5-step drop, or a 3-step from shotgun. Some youth teams don't even have a drop back game because they don't want to worry about the blocking. So this quick game stuff is where it all lives and breathes. So we start with all verts. We got into that, and I just want to show you quickly why I picked these 2 concepts, because there's a ton of different plays in air raid you could choose from. But again, we're trying to keep a small playbook, so there's reasons why you want to choose one or the other. For us, the next thing we teach is stick, and then after that is corner. And what the rules are, we come out to the pre-snap to the line, and we practice this every day again. And we've called, so let's just say we called Y stick, or we've called Y corner. The first thing that we do, even though we've called these plays, the quarterback comes up and he's looking backside, right? Pre-snap, slowly. Is this cornerback 7 yards or more off? If he is, he's going to throw it out here. This guy's uncovered, so he's going to throw it out here to a 3-step stick, just like on all verts. Now, these guys are only going to have the option to run a stick or a hitch, whatever you want to call it. But it's like in this scenario, he's running the stick, but he's 5 yards off, so he's not going to get the ball. But this guy's going to get the ball, even though we called Y stick, okay? This scenario here, we call open Y corner. This guy's 7 yards off or more, so he's going to expect the ball, even though we called Y corner here. So we're, again, and I cannot stress this enough, guys, don't feel bad about it. There's nothing wrong with taking free yards. You're not cheating the game. It's completely fair. It's part of the rules. If this guy, and we saw it time and time again, if this guy just refuses to come down for whatever reason, or this guy refuses to come over here, the coaches refuse to put him over here to cover this guy up, we are going to call Y corners 10 times in a row, and we won't even throw the concept. We'll just keep throwing it out here. Do not shy away from taking free money, guys. It's there for you. Take all the free yards they give you, okay? So now they come down. These guys are covered, let's just say. So now we're running the concepts, okay? And the reason I chose these 2 concepts is because the quarterback is reading the same pieces of grass, this deep third, this swing kind of flats grass, and this hook to curl grass. And both of these concepts, while we are going to do it in a different way, like on stick, we're going to just read basically this outside linebacker. If he flies out to the T because he has flats, or he literally has him one-on-one, we're throwing the Y. If he stays with the Y and the hook to curl grass, we're throwing the T. Out here, it's the same three pieces of grass. So instead of the R filling this deep third, it's the Y corner that's filling the deep third, right? Instead of the Y in this hook to curl, it's R that's kind of replacing that open grass. And vice versa. The swing is always going to be out here with this running back. So you can watch my videos. We don't need to get into how we read progressions at this point, but all of our videos have that in there. But I just want to just show you, with probably 15 different quick game air raid plays in the world right now, and we kind of go over that in the video. We list them out and then try to help you pick three. These are why I chose these three quick game passes. They all meld together to some degree. They all work off each other. It all starts with all verts, just so these guys understand the philosophy. If you can send kids to high school with the understanding of where open grass is, and if you're in between linebackers, you settle and noose and put your hands up. And if someone's chasing you, they're in man and you keep running. Like if you can send a batch of receivers to high school with those receiving core concepts embedded in their brain, guys, it's only going to help you and the high school stay that much more cohesive moving forward. But
You know
just
what?
want to kind of, yeah.
Thinking about it from a defensive standpoint, because now you got me thinking, like, if I ever had to play you, man, what the heck would I do? Because, my answer for a long time for 4 verts would be playing man. And no wide corner, man, that's a great man-to-man beater. Because if that's tough to play on that Y, man. If you press and he gets a good release, you're playing chase. You don't know which way he's going to break, especially if it's a crisp route. If he's good line, if I'm pressing, he has a good line release, drives his route upfield and you're chasing, and break to the corner. He's got all that field. I mean, it's almost impossible to cover. Even if you're man free, that safety, he's not going to get there. So, our answer for 4 verts would be man, and then your answer for that would be this.
Exactly.
So that's what I feel like I would get beat by. Especially, we're cover 3. And I feel like a lot of times I can't really stay in my true cover 3 against some of this stuff. So, and we don't coach up our kids on man as much as we do cover 3. So you're forcing us to get into something that we're not as good at, even if we're on paper matching numbers, you know what I mean? And schematically, aligned or matching, still got to execute. So that wide corner is nasty, even against zone. If I'm playing cover 3, that corner could definitely be peeking at R and get beat over the top by Y. Somewhat like a smash concept, So
it really is.
I like it, man. I think it's great compliments to the 4 verts.
Yeah, and 4 verts and wide corner. One of them scored 13 touchdowns. One of them scored 14 touchdowns this year. Those are our 2 favorite by far. And you pinpointed exactly why. Now, let me just test you as a defensive coach. And I asked the same question to my defensive buddy, both of my defensive buddies, Sean Gann and Nick Bordeaux out here. So you're in cover 3. You got the cornerback over there on my R, which again, the R for simplicity wise, he's always out there on the edge, always learning all his routes from the right side. Same with the L opposite. So where does that cornerback line up the majority of the time? How far off?
How he would line up on your L and F side?
On my R.
Oh, on your R? Yeah, on this, if we're playing man, we play a little bit off man with inside leverage, and we do play press. We literally just say press. So he'll play, most of the time we'll play press. It depends. I get a little scared when we're press because you know what? You could press, just outside release and go vertical and make the defender find the ball and play you. So there's a lot, I do my best.
What about zone?
For cover 3, okay, he'll split the difference between 1 and R and the Y.
Oh, really? Okay. And so are you
favoring
teaching
2 a little bit too, just because basically what we really have to do, and let me draw it up real quick. It'd be easier if I draw it on paper. Maybe you could see. Even though I probably had 20 diagrams on my computer with it.
Let me stop sharing so you can share too.
I'll go by the 3x1, basically. And did anyone ever play any games with you with like kind of show press and then bail?
Not much. I mean, there's one team.
I did that one time where a team were running option routes. They would go 3x1. Make sure I try not to get too much off topic here. They go 3x1 and they put their skilled kid at 1. And if we pressed him, he would cheat to split in a little bit too. He'd automatically outside release and go vertical. If we played off, it was just, I want to say hitch, but maybe more like a now. He just turned and catch it.
Yeah.
So we played games with him and kind of messed him up just because they didn't really ever see that. So I was just curious, to throw off pre-snap reads, to try to show you something pre-snap and then do something different post-snap. I don't know if anyone, that would be something I'd probably try.
Not really. You. Yeah, for sure. And I was expecting more people to adjust. We even played some of them twice the second time around playoffs, and people really didn't adjust. And it was kind of shocking to me. I kind of feel like I was playing, like I was running the 49ers offense in the 80s before defenses really got hip to all what, how to adjust to what they were doing. I kind of feel like that's the way it is for middle school right now, because I'm playing against single high safeties, and that corner, unless the cornerback to the play side bails out to get to his deep third with a purpose, that corner there is open the majority of the time.
Yeah, that corner's like you tough, said, man. Yeah, I'm not surprised you're lighting teams up. This would be a problem for, your average youth football coach, in my opinion. I'm not knocking anyone or thinking I'm a friggin' genius, but I see you guys shredding people with this. It's tough for me to stop, and this is all I do is football. I'm always trying to, but I like it, man. I'm buying in the more and more I talk to you. But give me 1 second here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, take your time. I mean, for me, the whole message is we just want to give coaches the option, right? Like, I did not know how to run the spread. I just knew I wanted to spread the ball around. And for the lower levels, my reasosoning was let's run triple option, because at that level, they can't throw it 20 yards. But at that level, that's spreading the ball around as much as you can. You have 3 options on every time we run inside or outside veer, right? And so that was my thinking then, and it just melded into the air raid, because I've actually heard people call the air raid the triple option of spread, because it's, again, we're playing 3-man games to the right on corner. We're playing a 3-man game with verts up the middle, up the seams. So it's kind of to me, it's a natural progression to doing it with passing.
And, facing something like this, too, forces me to get out of our real base defense, to be honest. Because we really want to stop 4 verts, and the team's good at running it. We kind of have to do something. We have this, it's cover 3 cloud, I guess you people call it. I don't know if you could see it. You let me know if you could.
Yep, I can see it.
I just did 3x1 first. This was our answer for it. And let me close these blinds here.
And what you're already more advanced than the teams we play. We have never seen a 3-man front. I saw a 4-man front twice, but that's awesome.
We're playing so many spread teams that it kind of forced. I was a 53 defense for a while, and 5-3-5 is somewhat similar, but I feel like we're able to adjust to spread teams better while still maintaining a somewhat strong box against the run. So I needed to do something. All these spread teams, man, are killing us, and I had to change it up. Yeah. But what we do is, we'll just say 2 deep on this, but basically this is our answer for 4 verts, and you tell me how you would attack that after. But we'd match this vertical. We'd have our safety here, and then the field's here. Most teams go 3x1 to the field. Not every team. I was telling you about that. We play that goes 3x1 a lot. Sometimes they put it to the boundary, which is kind of crazy to me, but they will. But typically, right? I guess most teams do go to 3x1 to the field. Our safety would be over, so we'd be able to match that vertical. We'd be able to match that vertical. This is the field. Dog would be a little bit over. We match that vertical, and we play man here with our best kid. So that was our answer for it, and that's what we got the best mileage on it. And even if this kid went vertical or anything in, we did have some underneath help, although most of the time I'm probably sending this kid. Or if this kid was really good, we could bracket him. But that was our answer for 4 verts. But we are taking a guy out of the run fit, though, too. You could very easily motion someone in or just do QB ISO here. This is somewhat of a small box, so I was
Yeah,
kind of
5-man box.
yeah. It's a tough box.
Yeah.
Not a very tough box against the run. So
That's the great thing about youth sports, man. It's quiet enough to where I could just say, "Hey," and then throw up my symbol for GT counter or quarterback ISO, like you said, because that look.
you can run on this.
What I would run 5-man box is pretty much a rule in my mind. I didn't teach the kids this because at some point,
Get the quarterbacks a running threat, you're done. Can't stop the run. This is what we went to when we knew they were passing. When it was third and long, and we're like, okay, we got to go here. We got to match these verticals. They're going to take us deep. So this wasn't like, every down thing. But you factor in, these teams were running 4 verts on rundowns on us. It's 2nd and 5. Am I going to go too deep and let you gut me with 5-man front? This game is why I had no hair playing this team. It was a big wake up. It was a big wake up call for me. It really was. So, awesome. And when you get crazy with your play calling, and we're very aggressive, it's a rundown. We're going to try to take a shot. Not every time, but, run down in distances. We like to pass down the distances. Maybe we'll do a slip screen or something like that. But
agree.
It's tough, man. It's tough. You want to stop 4 verts, I feel like you have to commit to it. And you can't be in cover 3. Out of 3x1, I'm much more comfortable how we defend 2x2 4 verts. 3x1 is a nightmare for me. We've had such a big problem. I'm our defensive coordinator, so my buddy, he's our OC, and I'm the head coach too. But it's nice. That one play, them gutting us with 4 verticals, that changed up everything. And I can't give them a soft box. 3rd and long, we could defend it. You run in 4 verts, or they run some kind of flood out of it. We defend it, but when it's 2nd and 2, and I'm moving my dog back, I just call it 2 safe. It's really 3 deep with the corner locked on one playing man. So you can't do that. They're gonna gut you for the run. So that was my problem.
Yeah.
2x2, we do a great job defending a lot of these concepts. 3x1, not so much. So, I just gave you my answer, and then how they beat my answer. So it was like it's crazy.
Well, that's the great thing about this whole thing, man. And that's why, I took a long time away from football. Once I stopped playing ball in college, I got hurt, graduated, and started having a family, and like, oh man, everyone out here is working in technology companies. So I'll go do that. And then once my kids started coming back to youth football, man, it's like riding a bike. I missed how much of this part of it, right? Like the X's and O's and more. What I like is strategizing against guys like you and going on the field against guys that love ball as much as me.
Yeah.
And if we can out coach, it's all fun and games, right? When you're out coaching somebody, but like when you get a worthy adversary at this youth level that like just nerds out on this stuff, we're not trying to, coach in the NFL. I'm sure we would if we could or whatever, but that's not the path we're in. We're in youth football, and it's just so much fun, man. It's just so much fun.
It is, and you know what too? It's like, sometimes, we'll lose games because the other team's athletes bailed them out. And listen, I've had, in 2018, we won our whole regional championship. It's like a regional tournament. It's like 6 states in the Northeast. We won the whole thing. I had a good team across the board, nice. But I had one stud where a team would stop us schematically, because well-coached, good athletes, they scout it. They would stop us schematically, but he would just make these little plays for us. Without him, they got us beat on that play, but, I physically beat them even if they got us stopped schematically. So, like, athletes do make plays, but when you're on an level playing field, and coaching does win games too, scouting and
100%.
So.
Especially at this level, it matters, man. It matters so much. And that's why I love what you guys do.
Yeah, the coaching and the little things like this matter when it's a level playing field. When you're in the playoffs, when you're playing teams with some dudes, So.
Yep. 100%.
That's when the coaching.
That's why I love what you guys do and why I wanted to get involved with you guys, because you're enabling. There's not that much love out there, not that much content out there besides you and a few other publications that are enabling youth coaches that are coming in probably because their kids playing, most likely. They have their experience, but really they don't have like somewhere to go. Just say, hey, where can I learn everything I need to know about wing T, or where can I go?
Exactly why I asked you to come on, because you're doing on a middle school level. And after you wrote that article for us, I'm not an air raid guy. I don't know I would run that. Although, like I said, we added a 2x2 package because we had to. You got to spread the field, and actually spreading the field helped our interior game too. But but it's just you run it on the youth level. You're proof of it. You have the film, you have the stats, you have the, I could get Ron Mackey here, which would be awesome, but he's not a youth coach, so it doesn't hold.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a high school coach. Like that's what I get a lot.
Yep.
So getting you on someone that's actually doing it, it holds more weight. So
very cool. Well, let me open this playbook up and show. You want to talk O-line?
Yeah.
I want to be conscious
definitely
of your time.
Pass protection for sure. That was one of the things I asked a couple of my coaches and our audience too. Like I said, we got a large audience, so I was asking some of our regular visitors and stuff that talk to me all the time what they think about the air raid and spread. Basically, they say the two issues were, we don't have a lot of kids that catch the ball, and two, pass protection was the biggest thing. You got, you spread us out 2x2 or 3x1, we're sending edge pressure. That was basically what they said. They're scared they can't block it up. Something like shallow cross. They said that takes way too long to develop. That's the stuff I was getting. So I'll let you address that.
Yeah. So, and those are great questions, and those are actually things that we went through last year.
They're not so much informed on the offense and stuff. So, but that's basically why people I think are scared to run it on the youth level. So,
okay. Well, let's talk just in general pass pro. Okay. So if you can see my screen, like I said, the majority of the time we see 5-man fronts. Okay. Which obviously with 5 linemen, it makes it real simple. I came into the season last year saying, hey, we're going to do a half slide, line slide, and we're going to slide the backside to the two defenders on that side of the line and do all this. But really what train our kids to, in the end, it's probably going to be one-on-one. And to everyone's point out there, it is not easy to have 5 13-year-olds at this level be able to hold up for 3 seconds. I get that. I had the same questions, but in the end, what we do is basically it's big on big. If this is 0, if this basically a D tackle comes out to here, comes out to the line, and we'll do some different rules. But essentially, we make it real simple. The center has the nose tackle. The guards are responsible for 1s, and the tackles are responsible for 2s. You probably don't even need to use the numbering system to some extent because it's just big on big. If this guy's not here, then we are having him, help out the side that we're throwing to. So if we're throwing to the right, we're going to have him just help out here, unless there's an obvious mismatch where we need him to help. But again, we don't see that very often. So usually we see a 5-man front, and the back is check swinging to the side that he's supposed to, whatever the route is. Okay, so he's checking. He's responsible for the mic first and foremost. So if he's walking up, like we see quite a bit, he knows he's got to get there. If he's back here, he is checking the mic, checking the SAM, and then swinging. Okay. So, this guy, is he unaccounted for? Yeah, but that's just football, right? So the quarterback has to know that he's got an unaccounted for person here. Okay. In the end, the type of blocking drills we do, and a lot of people out there might say, how do you get good at blocking at this age at pass pro? Well, it's the same exact thing, the same exact way you get good at run blocking, and the same exact way we get good at catching the ball, and it's the same exact way we get good at throwing the sticks on time and the corners on time. It's just reps. And so we have 3 run plays. We have 5 pass plays where the offensive line actually needs to worry about it. Our quick screens, the ball's out so quick it doesn't even matter, to be honest. But our pass pro is we have 2-foot splits, and we're doing 2 vertical drop steps. Okay, we're going back 2 steps. So we're trying to get some distance before the point of impact. So if he's already starting off the ball a little bit, we're trying to line him up with his helmet crossing the butt of the center. So he's already back a little bit. 2-foot splits, so we don't need to kick slide anymore because we're already out there. Last year we were kick sliding. Okay, this year we're going to go to a vertical set because I really am buying into the fact that the longer it takes for this impact to happen, so let's just say this is a second, the impact is a second, the struggle, get run over slowly, is probably my favorite thing I've ever heard from an O-line coach. But in the end, that's kind of what it felt like sometimes last year. That's another second. So worst case, it's 3 seconds and the ball's out, okay, for most of our passes. And now if these guys learn how to actually defend themselves and block properly, that quickly turns into 4 or 5 seconds. Yeah, but we rep it to death in practice just to make.
No, I like the vertical, taking the 2 vertical steps back, and I'll tell you why. We're a 3-5 stack defense. We play a lot of slants. I mean, we have a downtown and an uptown call. Downtown, our DNs, who are head up on your tackles, are slanting down. Mm-hmm. And then our stack backers are responsible for the other gap. But we do some twists, some stunts. So I think taking that vertical step will not, your kids won't chase as much. You know what I mean? I feel like you're able to pick up any kind of slanting games much easier that way. Because coming from someone that slants, especially if it's a long down and distance, we'll slant down and send someone the other way, And a lot of times we just basically slant our DN down to take the tackle down with him, and we come right off his butt, So I think that vertical step will allow you to, like you say, made a great point about, engaging a little bit later, which is big. A lot of kids will just step in, the kid will rip under it or something, and then they're beat, So I think it's good. I think you're able to handle any kind of twists or any kind of crazy slants. And then, like you said about engaging a little bit later. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, we just want to delay the point of contact as long as possible. Great. So, so that's the basis behind the blocking. Now, to your point, and shallow is a great example. So whoever called that out is huge. So our quick game, the ball's coming out, all verts, stick, corner. It's a 1-step drop. It's a quick read and the ball's out. So our drop back game, which takes longer, to your coach's point, shallow, mesh. This year we're going to add cross if we can. But last year, these were literally my 5 passing plays. I want to add something this year. But shallow cross is a perfect example of this because we started the season saying, hey, let's do this. Shallow cross. We'll have F. For us, this F is like a hybrid, running back, slot back. Like he's probably one of our best all-around athletes. Let's get him across. There's no way in this age group they're going to follow this F all the way across the field. What we found is that getting all the way across the field does take longer than we really want it to for our O-linemen. Could we do it? Yes, we scored a handful of touchdowns off it, but we had to make some adjustments because it just wasn't timing up properly. And again, we'll get into breaking down these plays, how they work on airraidwarden.com, or hopefully if I can come back, I'm happy to do it one by one. But we had to make adjustment. So one adjustment we made was running it out of the attached. So our ace set is the Y is attached, right? So he's already squeezing down. So that distance is already less. So it worked a little bit better with him attached and the Y running the shallow and the F running the dig behind it. So that was nice. We did that a few times, but then we still said, oh man, this still not getting, he's not getting across fast enough, and they're starting to chip us as they come across. So we moved into running it from our 2-back set. And so this F, who was a slot receiver here, it's the same kid. He now comes to the backfield, and we started having him run it through the line here, and it got much quicker, and he popped out much faster. The other way we're gonna,
gets it out much faster. You got the tailback blocking for you too if you wanted to there. So I like it. Like you said, man, it's about running, the same concept different ways. You
exactly.
pretty much have an answer for everything.
Yep. And then now this year, what we're going to do, I'm going to have Nate Shuttlesworth come on. He's a high school coach, but he ran this in youth as well. And what he does by rule, when they run shallow, the kids know it's built in that this F, if it's F shallow, he's running in motion before the snap. They snap it about here, and now he just drops into that spot. And so he's already basically there.
Probably always open, right?
Yeah, and this guy has to decide really quickly if he's going with him, we're hitting that F. If he's going with F, we're hitting the Y. So there's just so many ways to do it, and that's the beauty about this, guys. Again, we're putting in the core plays during camp, and then we can, once they know it, they get it, right? That he knows he's going to end up here regardless of what we do pre-snap. It's just more about adding little nuances, and these kids at this age, they get it, guys. They eat this stuff up. So that's a great point. And so those are ways we can combat. We still get to run shallow, but now we don't have to wait 5 seconds for him to get all the way across the field.
Man, when you motion someone across, we do something similar. We're a big jet sweep team. Even under center, we'll motion that kid across. Defense does one or two things. They overshift to it, or they don't shift at all. I mean, we're playing teams that are playing man coverage. We're sending our wing back in jet motion, and the guy responsible for him isn't running across with him, or they're not bumping him over out to someone else. So when we motion him across and send him right into the flat, it's almost he's uncovered. So that's a great way to run shallow too. I feel like he's always open on that. I mean, I know you're always, I guess, looking, deep to underneath, but for us, man, we hit that all day long. It's crazy.
Oh no,
motion across,
we go
flat,
shallow
it's unstoppable.
first. We go shallow first. Okay, cool. And so real quick, before we run out of time, I just wanted to again, reinforce for everyone out there, whether it's your concern is blocking or the kids catching or throwing, I just want to reinforce that the fact that we practice this way so intentionally, and these kids are getting so many reps at exactly what they need to be doing on game day, that it really does help. It allows them to learn the nuances of this. So if you look here, these O linemen, they start the day off. We don't stretch much anymore in the traditional sense of the word. Okay. So their warm-up session is, literally stepping through their lineman steps, their drop steps, getting back into position, drop steps, getting their hands right. Literally that's how we spend the first 10 minutes of practice warming up. Then they go hit the sled for 10 minutes.
Time, man. Not wasting any time.
Exactly. Then we get into the first period, Indy, and they're repping the inside run drills, right? Then they're repping inside pass. And then, and we're very focused on doing the pass pro or the run plays just one at a time. So in the first day of camp, we're only practicing counter when we do inside run. When we do pass pro, obviously we only have one pass pro set. We want to keep it simple as the 2-step vertical step, but we're getting pass pro here. We're getting pass pro here. We're getting pass pro here. This inside pass drill, I just love it. From tackle to tackle, just like inside run, a quarterback and a running back with a D line and linebackers all live, active, and we're just going through it. So pass pro here, pass pro here, pass pro here, pass pro throughout this whole team period. So, are they going to, on day one, look like, Joe Staley? No, they're not. But I guarantee they come out of camp, they're ready. They're ready for live bullets. So,
and I'll be quick with this. To support what you're saying, a lot of coaches will say they struggle with pass coverage. The first thing I tell them, I ask them, and I made the same mistake, especially when I first started coaching. Well, how much time do you commit to pass blocking? You could get good at pass blocking if you want to practice it.
Right.
You can't complain about not being able to pass block when you don't do it. Doesn't matter if you're going 2x2 or underneath. If you don't practice pass blocking, you can't do it. Especially if there's no, a lot of coaches they'll do a play action, so the run fake kind of buys you time and tricks the kids. But for true drop back passing, you have to practice pass protection. If you practice it won't be a problem. Right. So that's my answer for that. Kids could do it if you practice it. That's the first thing I ask them. How much do you practice it? And they say, let's, be honest with me. You know, there's
Exactly.
times we don't practice it enough, and I see on film we can't protect. That's not their fault, it's my fault. So got to practice it. You could do it if you rep it. That's it.
Hal Mummy is famous for saying, you know, one of his things that he says, the creator of this air raid, is like, they know exactly the core plays we're going to run. We've run the same core plays for 20 years. Mike Leach, same thing. We've run the same. They run corner, they run stick, they run all verts. Everyone knows what they're running, but the defenses that they're going against are only practicing for them for those 3 days that week, right? So we've repped it from spring to camp, through camp to the game, every day. That's what we do. We execute, and you've only practiced against our plays. You don't, you know, that's all you've done for 2 or 3 days tops. So we're going to come into that game ready to execute, and most of the time it's going to work out.
Yeah, and
so
keep things, you know, simple and I guess you could say it's somewhat not minimal, but like, you know, you keep you said 11 plays, right? You have time to work on all your other stuff. Get good at those 11 plays and every aspect of it, from blocking to catching the ball to route running to everything, timing, you know. So keep things simple. You know, keep a somewhat light playbook, but be really good at what you do and do it multiple ways. That's what I learned, and that's when I started having some success, is, you know, doing it like that. You know, there's so many different cool schemes. I want to run a lot of stuff. You know, I want to run this stuff now. But, like, you know, like, that was my biggest mistake back in the day. I don't make that so much now. A little sometimes, like, you know, oh, I want to do this and that. But, like, as soon as I just kept it, you know, doing what we do, our Jet series and our Beast series, and we just do our Jet series out of 3 different formations. And we, you know, a spread formation, a balanced formation, and an unbalanced formation. We do the same 3 plays, have a tag or 2 for certain plays, and that's it. So we're able to practice the fundamentals and not have 20 plays, but we're really good at what we do, and they can't stop it. It doesn't matter. They know what's coming, and they just can't stop it.
That's any offense, and I just love that. And, you know, the good coaches, the really good coaches, understand that it's just all about out executing people. So I love to hear that. And if anybody has any more questions on O-line, I'm not sure when we're going to post this, but even if it's after next Monday, the 18th, we're going to put it on YouTube. I'm having 2 air raid giants, Shane Dular and Joe Salas, come on my channel on Coach Lasker on YouTube. We're going to do it live, but I'm just going to let them take it away. I've asked them to prepare like what they think for middle school, what the differences would be or would not be. Honestly, I've talked to these guys before and watched all their videos, and there's not much difference that they would do, to be quite honest. But anyway, if you guys are still wondering about how air raid O-line works, you know, check out that because it's going to be pretty epic.
Man, or anything, you know, we'll share it on our pages as well. So
I appreciate it, man. That's awesome. You know, we're on the same mission. So you know, again, I just appreciate all that you guys are doing for youth football. I think these youth football coaches are such a special breed. It's all volunteers. All of us are just trying to do the best we can. And the more we can give them resources to get better, if there's coaches that want to get better, I just want to help with what you guys are doing and enabling these folks. So thank you for letting me be on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time, and I'll let you go. Sometimes I get going, I don't stop.
No, I could do it all night, man.
Yeah, same.
I love this stuff.
But yeah, I appreciate you coming on.